Working without a plan creates roadblocks that would otherwise be avoided. No plan means no vision. No vision means no direction. No direction means no discipline. No discipline means mediocre training. A plan is necessary to hit the desired outcome. So today we're going to dive into the first three steps of the game planning process. One, define the goal in writing. Two, define a definite deadline. And three, create a written plan. Then we'll briefly talk about the last four steps of the process. Four, take action. Five, evaluate and adjust. Six, associate. And seven, see it through. So much to get through today, but I know that it will help you to gain clarity in how you can take your big dream and break it down into smaller stepping stone goals and doable chunks. So let's get into it.
Hey friend, welcome to Pursuing Goals God's Way. Have you thought about finally starting that business now that your kids are older? Do you ever stay awake wondering how to mesh your passions into purposeful work? Do you have big, ambitious goals but feel overwhelmed or even unqualified to pursue them? Hey, I'm Gabe. Not too long ago, I longed for the confidence to start an online business. I just wanted to make a difference outside my home bubble using my gifts. But I kept telling myself that I wasn't good enough. I didn't know enough, and I didn't have enough time. Until I realized something huge. My kids need me to be their example, and they need to see me win. And yours do too. In this podcast, you will learn how to clarify your goals, plan with purpose, and ditch your distractions. If you're ready to make an impact and an income, all for the glory of God, then you're in the right place. As an avid runner, I believe life is one massive marathon. It's up to you to run your own race and to finish it well. So lace up those running shoes, pop in your earbuds, and let's do this thing.
People don't succeed by chance. It's not by chance, it's a choice. It starts with a decision, then a plan, and finally, working the plan while tracking progress and making adjustments as necessary. Any of you play chess out there? Now, here's a confession. I am not a huge fan of the game because I just don't understand it. I feel like it's slow and too methodical for me. Or maybe it's just that I never win. I'm a little competitive, if you don't know. So, either way, what chess is it is a game of strategy and persistence. In order to be effective, players need to know what each piece is able to do and also need to logically create a game plan against their opponents. My boys love to play chess. They know all the rules and moves in the game, but they still lose to their dad every time. Why? My husband's an average chess player, but the advantage he has over the boys is that he plans 3 to 4 moves in advance. The game of life is very similar to how chess is played. Like chess, we need to develop a strategy for the vision we set in front of ourselves. We need to know the role of each piece and its advantages, such as our skills, our gifts, and our talents. And these pieces could also be people we have surrounding us and the resources we have access to. And once we know all of the pieces we have to work with, we can formulate a plan or plans to effectively advance toward our dream. We can lay out a strategy toward one goal, which will lead us to the next and continue in a stepping stone manner until we are the victors of our vision. As motivational speaker Brian Tracy says, goals in writing are dreams with deadlines. A game plan begins with a decision, but it is backed by action and a plan. Without those two ingredients, a decision is merely a wish. So in this episode, we are going to talk about the main steps in our game planning process. And in college, you're given a syllabus with what to expect in each of your enrolled classes, right? It's your roadmap to success in the class, and you're not surprised by the upcoming tasks or tests that you need to complete in order to pass the class. Think of your game plan like a syllabus to advance you toward your dream. You will keep your dream in front of you throughout this process, but what I am talking about now is developing each stepping stone goal along the way to that greater vision. We no longer look at that big vision. We're going to break it down to little chunks at a time. There are 3 key steps to your game plan, and each is equal in importance. The first step, you need to define what the successful result of that goal looks like. Second, you need to define when you want that desired result. And third, you need to define the initial actions you believe are best to take in moving toward that result. Now, before I dive too deep into each of these 3 steps, I want to talk a little more about a plan versus no plan. In order to know where you're going, you need a game plan. When you have a plan, you have a clear direction. You are more easily able to see the action steps necessary to obtain your objective. A plan keeps you focused on the main purpose and keeps you on track. Now, we do need to have flexibility, yes, for sure. But without a thought out plan, you essentially lose the roadmap that will guide you along the path to successfully accomplishing your goals. Here's how I learned this: marathons. And even more specifically, the road to qualifying for the Boston Marathon. So let's talk about a few of these. Marathon number one. This was my first race, and it was all about finishing with no other expectations attached. I had just had my second baby, and I decided it would be a great idea to run a half marathon to get back into shape. 6 months after having him, that's exactly what I did. The half was exhilarating, and I craved more. I was already halfway there, so I thought, why not? I trained to run a full marathon just 3 months later. My training plan consisted of something I found online that looked appealing. I was training to run with no goals and no preconceived notions. I mean, how could I have them? I had never run one before. And I finished at a respectable 4 hours and 12 minutes. Race day came and went, and I still craved more. Since I had accomplished that first milestone, I could expand my dream a little. And my first real goal seemed lofty: qualify for the Boston Marathon. Now, marathon number two. I had the goal to qualify, but I didn't have a specific game plan. I just trained and ran with little direction. I trained very similar to marathon number one. I picked a training plan online and I went to work. Now, I needed to cut 37 minutes off my finish time in order to qualify for the Boston Marathon. I didn't really do anything differently this time around other than pick a goal. And isn't it funny that my finish time of 4 hours and 10 minutes was very similar to my first race? Okay, fast forward to marathon number three. I had a game plan, and now I had a coach. I decided it was time to have a coach who could be objective and challenge me. I trained with a group at a local fitness club, and they quickly became my workout family. We had so much fun. Our trainer was knowledgeable and knew how to push me closer to my limit. I used a new training plan and incorporated speed intervals and hill training, something I was lacking in the first two races. Now, this time I ended up slightly closer to my goal with a finish time of 3 hours and 51 minutes. So I had cut that 4 hour mark, but I still had at least 16 minutes to shave off. So, marathon number four. This was the game changer. I had a game plan and I backed it up with expectation and mental training. This one was different. Before I signed up for the race, I made the decision to do whatever it took. I was decided. I followed a very specific training plan. I cleaned up my diet and added a strict weights program to kind of increase my strength. However, the most significant difference was applying all the success principles I had been learning up to that point. I created a clear vision of what I wanted and I put a picture in front of me. I wrote down my specific goal and my focus was uninterrupted. If you asked me if I would do it, I would have told you emphatically, yes. I felt it. I believed it with every fiber of my being. And this was the race that defined me as a runner. I crushed my goal of 3 hours and 30 minutes through pain and tears, but I did it with a clear vision and the action to back it up. The difference maker in this fourth race was that I had a specific game plan supported by action and belief. A game plan is a pre worked strategy that you use to attain your goal. Just as in chess, it helps you to think, to strategize, and to lay out what it will take to move on, thinking a few moves ahead. A game plan aids in discipline. Being disciplined in one area helps you become disciplined in all areas. I learned this with running. Running was my discipline maker. It was where I learned how to set goals and how to achieve them. The more disciplined I was, the less I felt of procrastination or excuses. Discipline moves you past wanting to wait and instills a healthy, proactive way to get the job done. A game plan gives you focus. You become less distractible, and it's easier to decipher the good from the best. When you become decided, believe me, many opportunities will come your way. But focus helps you filter them. Will they get you closer to your goal or further away? Are they a distraction or are they where God wants you? A game plan gives you purpose. It gives you the motivation to keep going. You've set a finish point and you are excited to see it to fruition. You're excited to get out of bed every day because you're in pursuit of something bigger than yourself. It's not a, I wonder what I should do today to hit my goals. It's now a, I know what to do and I'm excited about the possibilities. Do you see the differences in a game plan and no game plan? So let's talk about the 3 steps to a solid game plan. Step number one is to define your goal in writing. So write down your big goal, put it in front of you. Your mission is to focus on one larger dream at a time, but you may be working on one or more goals as you work toward that greater vision. These goals are smaller and more believable than your dream is to you at the moment. The dream seems far out of reach. If all you think about is that dream, you're never going to know how to get there. But a goal should feel more attainable, still challenging, but realistic to what you believe you are capable of right now. A goal is essentially a smaller dream, a stepping stone toward that larger vision. But the difference is that it has a plan attached. Without a plan, it is merely a wish. Remember, we talked about that in the beginning. In order to plan what goals are necessary, you will want to identify that first action needed that will start the momentum toward your dream. This is something that you can implement immediately. From there, we will take a look at other things you need to accomplish along the way. I love to think about it as reverse engineering that big dream. So you think about what things you need to accomplish inside of there. Some may be quickly implemented and some may take a little bit more time to develop. Some goals may work together and some may be building blocks on each other that need to be implemented separately. So that's the first step is to write it down, define your goal, put that big vision in front of you, and then backtrack. Okay, what are the smaller goals that I need to do in order to hit that big vision? Because now we can look at the first small goal and then the second and then the third, and we're going to have progress along the way.
Are you tired of quitting on yourself and your goals? I get it. You've been hemming and hawing about a goal you want to achieve for a while now, and you know your life would be enriched if you could make it happen. But it's hard to justify taking time out for yourself when your plate's already full with work, kids' activities, home management, and everything in between. What if I told you that you could, in fact, work toward a goal in a stress-less, no-hustle way so that you can make an impact on your kids and that they need to see you win? What if I told you that you can create a personalized game plan that works in the season of life that you're in with the capacity you have without sacrificing precious family time? Let me show you how to think backward so you can spend less time worrying about where to start and more time taking action that works. My simple Red Hot Goals formula will help you create a personalized game plan that works for the seasons you're in and the capacity you have. You can work your goals into your lifestyle without sacrificing everything to achieve them. With the Red Hot Goals formula, you will be able to gain clarity that makes your dream real to you without worrying about how it'll all come together. Craft a simplified game plan that gets results in the season of life you're in. And take action that works, even if you have a limited time to make things happen. Are you ready to ditch the overwhelm and go after your goals in a stress-less, no-hustle kind of way? Then head to redhotmindset.com/FLG to learn more about Finish Line Goals and join me today. Again, that's redhotmindset.com/FLG.
All right, step 2 is to define a definite deadline. Just as you defined a deadline for your dream, you will also want to set a definite deadline for each of your goals. Your dream is a longer deadline. It may be 1 year, 5 years, or maybe even 10 years. However, your goals should be challenging, but also small enough that they can be accomplished within at least a few months. Maybe, within 30 days, 90 days. Okay. You want a shorter deadline for your goals, mainly because it makes it easier to stick to them and it creates more immediate results. You start seeing your progress along the way. Without a deadline, you don't have a truly clear direction. And without a clear direction, you will most likely not stick to your goal. Without clear direction, there is an underlying component of aimlessness, and you will feel as if you have all the time in the world and no sense of urgency. According to Napoleon Hill, the most important thing is to have a definiteness of purpose, which means knowing exactly what you want, knowing exactly when you want it, and knowing exactly what you are willing to give up to get it. A deadline creates urgency and will get you moving quicker. Step number 3 is to create a written plan. This plan will be unique to you and may look completely different than anyone else's. That doesn't matter. But one thing is for sure, writing it down is the secret ingredient. Habakkuk 2:2 says, "Write the vision and make it plain." This sentence is an imperative, which means it's actually a command. It doesn't say, write the vision if you want to and try to make it as clear as possible. It commands us to not only write it, but to write it in a way that we understand it and it is crystal clear. You need to know what you want and how you will get there, and you need to know it in writing. Here are some key questions you can ask yourself as you consider your written plan. What do I need to do every day to hit my deadline? What is the most important thing? How do I prioritize my responsibilities? What habits do I need to develop to see this plan through? What habits maybe do I need to let go of to see this plan through? Am I focusing on only one goal at a time? Or do I need to focus on a few smaller goals related to that larger vision? Is my written plan a daily, weekly, or monthly plan? Or maybe it's all of those. Each dream needs to be broken down into smaller, more attainable goals. Each goal needs to be specific, measurable, and include a deadline. These goals are the stepping stones toward that dream. They're the reverse engineering of your dream. In essence, we are creating a roadmap to that dream. I like to do this by reverse engineering those goals, creating a clear roadmap that connects your big vision to daily actions, which will ensure steady and focused progress, which is what we want. And that's going to help you from quitting on yourself. Steps 1 to 3 are a focus of today's episode. I wanted you to be crystal clear on what crafting a personal game plan looks like, but there are 4 other steps in the game plan that we'll be working through in later episodes. And those are taking action. You can't steer a parked car, can you? Creating the plan is the first step, but then you got to implement it to see things through. So that is step 4. Step 5 is evaluating and adjusting, tracking your progress and then determining what's working, what's not, and adjusting as necessary. This is the piece that many forget to implement. And without it, I see too many quitting on themselves and their goals. Step 6 is association. Who you spend your time with matters. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with the cheerleaders or mentors who will build you up and make you a better person. Accountability and support are huge for keeping on, keeping on. And finally, number 7, step 7 is to see it through. People don't succeed by chance. It's a choice, and it's a daily choice. Seeing your vision through matters not only to boost your own morale, but it's how God uses you to build his kingdom in so many different ways. So I want to leave you with this. I want to talk about what happens without a game plan. In the fall of 2017, the year after my first Boston Marathon, I chose to run the Marine Corps Marathon in Washington, D.C. And we formed a mini family vacation around that race, which was one of my favorite vacations ever. My plan for the race was to have no plan, and I thought it was brilliant. I had run multiple marathons and was confident in my ability. I trained for mileage, but I didn't have a specific time goal or a specific training plan. I felt fairly healthy since I wasn't training hard, so I was really hopeful for a solid race. Race day came, and I ran with no expectations, no mental training, and no wristwatch. Not wearing a watch meant I couldn't track my pace or my overall time or my heart rate. I had nothing tangible to evaluate my progress and had to depend solely on how I felt to get me through. Side note, if we depend on our feelings to get us through, we will never hit our goals. Those things sway all the time, don't they? Okay, back to the story. Anyway, I even ran without music for the first 18 miles just to see how far I could go without it. The Marine Corps Marathon is known for its scenic route through the National Mall and finishes at the Marine Corps War Memorial. The most emotional part of the course, around the halfway point, is the Wear Blue Mile, where American flags and pictures of fallen service members decorate the roadway. I consider it the mile of silence because not a word is uttered throughout the memorial to these fallen heroes. With all these moments to look forward to, I just wanted to enjoy the experience and take it all in. Well, I started out too fast. First mistake. What I quickly realized was that even though I wanted a casual race without pressures, no plan was ultimately a bad choice. I didn't have a plan for time, so I ran quicker than I should have. Without a watch, I couldn't really tell how fast I was running. I just knew it was probably too fast. I didn't have a plan in place if an issue arose, and of course, problems arose. Not only did I have bathroom issues, but my right leg went completely numb, which made for a miserable final 8 miles. I walked more in that race than I ever have before, and I was probably the healthiest I have been in a race. That race, though a memorable experience and a wonderful family vacation, was the worst race I've ever had and made me doubt my future in racing altogether. Working without a plan creates roadblocks that would otherwise be avoided. No plan means no vision. No vision means no direction. No direction means no discipline. No discipline means mediocre training. A plan is necessary to hit the desired outcome. I hope I have nailed that into your brain today. So let's recap the main steps in our game planning process. Step 1, define the goal in writing. Step 2, define a definite deadline. Step 3, create a written plan. Step 4, take action. Step 5, evaluate and adjust. Step 6, associate. And step 7, see it through. Following those 3 main steps, defining the goal in writing, defining a definite deadline, and creating a written plan will help you to turn your dream into a game plan and see it as much more doable and realistic. You can be flexible, and you need to be, as you live out the plan and allow God to lead. But without something written down, it will be difficult to bring your dream to fruition. The other 4 steps are just as valuable as you work the plan. If you're wanting some help with this process of breaking down your larger dream into smaller goals and creating a game plan that works for your season and capacity, then I encourage you to check out my program, Finish Line Goals. If you're sick of not sticking with your goals, or you're sick of the hustle culture and want a different strategy, then my simple Red Hot Goals formula will help you to create a personalized game plan that works for your capacity in different seasons. You can work your goals into your lifestyle without sacrificing everything to achieve them. We dive even deeper into these 7 steps of a game plan inside the course. You can learn more and join us at redhotmindset.com/FLG. Again, that's redhotmindset.com/FLG. I'll leave a link in the show notes for you as well. But until next time, in all things I pray, friend, you just run your race. I believe in you.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I had a great time and I hope you did too. Before we go though, if you resonate with this episode, please consider leaving a review on iTunes or sharing it with a friend as it helps grow the podcast. Also, if you're not a part of the Red Hot Accountability Club, what are you waiting for? It's a private online community away from the noise of social media that provides coaching, support, and encouragement as you go after your biggest goals in business or life in a stressless, no hustle kind of way. Inside the club, you will own your own results, hold yourself accountable, and lean on others for support. If you've been looking for a simple, off social media way to grow, then this is it. Head on over to redhotmindset.com/RHA to learn more and join us today. Again, that's redhotmindset.com/RHA. And I can't wait to welcome you into the club. In all things I pray, you just run your race. I believe in you.